coming. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm very excited about this exhibit, which I haven't even had a chance to look at yet. I hope to tonight before it's over. I just sit in the archives. My name is Terry Beswick, and I'm the Executive Director of the GLBT Historical Society. Next week will be my 1-year anniversary on the job. And as I often say, I'm still having fun. So it's an honor and a privilege to be part of this museum and part of this organization. I'm particularly excited about tonight's exhibit because it's our homeboy Jeremy Prince's first curated exhibit on all of many of you know and love Jeremy. He's our museum operations, what are we calling him now? Museum, he's the director. He runs the museum. And so what he usually does is he works with temperamental curators, and this time he got to work with himself. So it was a really good experience, and I'm excited because it's really going to give him a different perspective in terms of working with other curators. But the topic here is really wonderful for me. Because not just that it shows another piece of our community, because there are so many different pieces, but because it's such a wonderful part of our community. I mean, who doesn't love bears, right? Right. And so, how many bears do we have in the house? Yay! Okay, so I'm especially excited about what we're doing here with the Historical Society because we've come to recognize that this museum, as wonderful as it is, and we get about 15,000 visitors a year coming through the museum, and it's actually increasing more and more as we do more and more exhibits and we're changing things out. And by the way, you can get a sneak preview of the new leather exhibit. We're getting more and more edgy here, so we're changing out some of the permanent exhibits, and the leather exhibit is going to be going in, and we're going to update the AIDS exhibit. My friend Mike Shriver is going to be working on that. And so on. And so we're changing it up, but we're working within a very confined space. So as many of you know, we've launched Vision 2020, which is a campaign to raise money to create a new museum in San Francisco. And so we did a year-end donor drive. We raised over $100,000 in November and December. And we're very excited about that, but you know, it's already being spent. So, so really what we're raising money for right now is just building capacity for the organization so that this year, hopefully, when we identify a site and a developer to work with us, that we will be able to launch a full-fledged capital campaign to build out a space and really to create rooms the size of that one for the bears and the size of that one for AIDS activism and so on. And speaking of AIDS activism, I just really, I'm going to have a really pleasurable opportunity right now to make an introduction. As many of you know, we had a new Board of Supervisors member appointed just a few weeks ago to replace Scott Wiener, who was elected to the State Senate. Scott was a wonderful supporter of the Historical Society, and he helped to bring us a lot of city money and make connections for us. And so I'm particularly excited that my friend Jeff Sheehy has been appointed to the position, and he's already hard at work. The cool thing, and I didn't know this about Jeff, but the cool thing, as I was reading about his biographies in the various newspapers, was that he majored in history. How cool is that? And so he knows more history than I do, probably, and so really gets it. He really gets it about queer history and why it's important, how diverse we are, and how we each need to have our space and our voice for our various communities. And so I want to introduce Jeff Sheehy, who is introducing, or just on Tuesday he introduced at the Board of Supervisors a resolution to call on the City of San Francisco to support the Historical Society in our efforts to create a new world-class LGBTQ Museum of History and Culture. So I'm very excited. Awesome. It's going to be voted on Tuesday. And the board
Thanks, Terry. And it's true, I was a history major. I'm just reminded in these times of how important it is to keep our history and capture our history. Because if you look, we've been around for millennia, since the beginning of time. Yet, our history is destroyed at times not so different from today. And Terry and I were talking, you had, I guess you had a Magnus Hirschfeld exhibit. He's a particular hero of mine. My period of history I studied was 1848 to 1939. And, Berlin, I don't know if you guys are Christopher Isherwood fans or W.H. Auden, and it was such a great time and a great place that was very similar to what we have in San Francisco now, right? And you had the Hirschfeld Museum of Sex and the Hirschfeld Institute for the Study of the Science of Sex, and those were obliterated in 1933, and just like that. Our community was taken off to concentration camps and killed, and a whole piece of history was lost. I mean, you hear about, Hemingway and Paris and Gertrude Stein and all of that, but who really talks about what happened in Berlin in the 20s and the 30s, which was such a fantastic experience? And it seems like we're always having to recapture and retell our history. So I'm so proud. I think that was it the first resolution I offered? The first resolution I offered was to put the city on notice, to get the city committed to us having a history museum that reflects all of our various communities that have grown, and the dynamism, the way our communities keep. I can't even keep up with it all. The way in which we're completely changing how people think about people. I'm also very excited to be here. Because these are my first certificates, by the way, to honor not only the work that's been done by the two individuals I'm honoring, but the Bear community has been so fantastic because we have been so oppressed by certain images of beauty and body, what a body should look like, and they broke that in half, just completely obliterated that, and it's been such a liberating thing. To let people be free to be who they are, and to recognize that everybody is sexy, and so the Bear community, especially in the middle of the epidemic that it emerged at a time when we had so many other things going on to actually liberate us from these very oppressive notions of masculinity and what we should look like. Right? So I'm going to start. Let's see. Okay. And I have to get glasses. I'm getting older. So I have to. And I want to read these. And so I think. I hope I didn't turn this off. So the first one is for Jeremy Prince. And we're honoring him on the occasion of curating his first solo exhibition, Beartoonist of San Francisco, Sketching an Emerging Subculture, an exhibition at the GLBT History Museum which traces the first 3 decades of the Bear community and celebrates the older, larger, hairier, ruggedly masculine gay men who are an integral part of our community.